Welcome back to another Iron Faith coaching call. I am here to answer any of your guys' wrestling questions. Season's about wrapped up. We're going into our off season. We got Division I national championships next weekend. We got a handful of we actually have Division III nationals in Rhode Island this year. So a lot of our guys are going to go watch some of our local D3 athletes compete in that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat right over here. And I'll make sure to post my online academy if you guys want to join. If you haven't already joined the online academy, feel free to join that. But yeah, feel free to post your questions in the chat. I'm going to go through my online academy and answer anybody's questions as well while we wait. How's it going, Bobby? We've got some good videos coming up. I just filmed a video on bottom. So another video on bottom, not too long, maybe like a 10-minute video. And then another video on, or our first video on a freestyle instructional. So look out for those. I'm also going to be making a video on a vlog of our practices. So you guys, if you're a coach, you'll be able to see exactly how we run the practice. I'll voice over why I do certain drills, how I run my live session, and I'll just film the entire practice for you guys. U of R. You want me to review one of your guys' matches, Bobby? You got a match for me to review? I don't mind that. I could review a match. How's it going? What Willie thinks? If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them. Like I was saying earlier, we got 3 videos coming out. One on bottom, just a short 10-minute one talking about some of the details that you guys some people are missing. Freestyle, for those of you guys are doing freestyle, I want to do at least an introductory freestyle one. And then the third one is going to be a vlog of one of our high school practices, so you guys can see exactly how we run it. Maybe you can add some stuff to your practices if you're a coach, or you can suggest it to your coach. Had states last weekend, got second. How can I improve for NHSAA high school nationals and place? I mean, the biggest thing with a month left to train for a tournament, it's repping all of your number 1, number 2 tech, fixing any little mistakes you have up. So maybe reevaluate your state tournament, the matches you had, and see where you were. So it's really just about being consistent, going to practice as you can, make sure weight cut is on point. I have videos on weight cutting if you need that. But NHSAA Nationals for high school is day before weigh-in, so the weight cut shouldn't really be an issue. But yeah, just focus on the wrestler who's ready for nationals. Just focus on your stuff, your best attacks, your best turns, and then go review all your matches from states and see what things you need to improve on, and just focus on those these next few weeks. Caravaggio, thanks, coach. Are you a fan of UFC? I'm a little bit of a fan of UFC. I'm definitely more of a fan of wrestling than UFC. Meaning I'm not a big enough fan to pay for pay-per-view, but I go check who won the fight the day after, I guess. People have been asking recently why fighters with a U.S. wrestling background don't seem to be as dominant today as they once were. Any thoughts? I'm not sure. I think wrestling as a skill is still super important. Maybe people in other forms of martial arts are just spending more time learning wrestling. So maybe they're like figuring that style out, how to beat a wrestler. I still think wrestlers are, I have to look at the stats, but I still think wrestlers are probably still one of the better bases for a sport, or for MMA, having that grappling background. I mean, you pretty much need to know you need to know wrestling. You could know some sort of jiu-jitsu for some submission stuff, and you know striking. I think kickboxing is pretty killer for striking, right? You got kicks and punches, but I mean, I'm not an expert in UFC, for sure not. Definitely wrestling is what I do 24/7 every day. So that's what I can help with. I did get into a fight when I was a little kid, but all I did was take him down with a double and hold him on his back until he stopped going nuts. All right. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm just going to see in the academy if anybody's posted anything. If you guys haven't joined the academy, we've got that link right there. Make sure you join that. We'll make sure to, get you access to all of our instructionals and answer any of your guys' questions. I have Will asking about machine gun mentality. Do you think a machine gun mentality is genuinely a good mindset even when you don't have the most skill or strength? I think an offensive mindset is the fastest way to get better at wrestling. So even if you're not good enough yet to, every time you shoot, you're going to get taken down. In practice, at least, I'm going to be very offensive because it's going to help me learn faster. And then in matches, if it's an important match, I'm going to select my shots a little bit more. But I think in practice, you should be attacking a lot in the live goes. It will get you more used to shot recovery. It will help you with your shot finishes. And as a coach, I can fix your mistakes a lot easier than, say, if you just kind of stared at each other for half an hour. Best attacks to use on a short defensive wrestler. Short defensive wrestlers are tough, especially like the hand fight kind of gets tough. Go behinds, I think, are a great option if you can find a way to get them into a front headlock. Because if you're a lot taller, you have the reach to kind of get behind them. True Vision Wrestling. Is everyone else seeing a black screen too? But yeah, if I'm wrestling a shorter wrestler, I'm going front headlock, go behinds. I might shoot from the open too if I'm really struggling to beat the guy in the hand fight. I may shoot like a low single from the open. But other than that, like no matter who the wrestler is, I'm going to go to my go-to stuff. And then if that's struggling, I may use some different things to score. All right, perfect. Why do your ears look fine? My ears don't look 100% fine. I got some cauliflower, right? Got a little bit of cauliflower here, there. Now they're super tough, so I don't really get cauliflower anymore. All right, Matthew, do you have a video on footwork, on stance, footwork on ties, fakes, and defense? It's kind of just mixed. The footwork stuff is just mixed into a lot of the instructionals I've created. I don't know if my shots from the open one is free on YouTube or not. Most of my videos are all free on YouTube, but I have some stuff people can buy in the academy. But footwork, keep your lead leg forward. Little short choppy steps as you move around. I would do ladder drills to help me with speed. Yeah, do some stance and motion. It's kind of my footwork stuff. I heard about the passing of Satiev. I mean, as far as I know, that's definitely in the conversation of the GOAT. I feel like, I don't even know who else would compare. It's like Abdul Sajilayev has kind of been, I feel like, is maybe the GOAT too. And you got that Cuban guy for Greco who won 4 Olympic gold, which is wild. But he's definitely up there. All right. True Vision Wrestling. With double leg hooks in, do you prefer, you have a preferred method to turn them? With double boots, the best turn is a power half. So if you guys like leg riding, double boot power half is really, really good at all levels. There's not many, like the reverse crossface is not that good. It's kind of like that. So I'd get really good at double boot power halves. Matthew, video clearing hands on bottom, belly base, sit out, short sit, and stand up, quad pod. I have a bottom. I can post some of those. And I was saying earlier, I just filmed it. Bottom, a freestyle video, and then a video on my practices. So it's not like a super long video, but it talks about like hand fighting on bottom. Let me find a bottom video for you though. Let me see. I mean, there's a lot. I got a lot of bottom videos. I mean, I don't know how long you want the video. There's like a minute video. Let me see. Well, if you go in the academy, Matthew, so I'll post the academy real quick for you. When you guys go in the academy, you can literally search anything you want in the search bar in there, or go to the classroom, and there's videos on anything you could possibly think of. I mean, they're all on YouTube too. Majority of them are, but you can just like easily search all the videos on the academy. So Matthew, just join the academy and you can search all those bottom videos. Because a lot of people, they're always asking me, hey, do you have a video on high crotch or on single leg finishes or on out the back door? And the reality is I have all those videos. It's just like you can either search Iron Faith and then the whatever you want on YouTube, or if you join the academy, it's kind of easier to organize. What teams will place 1 to 4 at Division I? Kind of going back to that question. Penn State wins it. Did Iowa take second at Big Tens? I feel like Nebraska was in it. Let me see. All right, the Big Tens. Let's see. All right, so Penn State won Big Tens, Nebraska, Iowa, then Minnesota. So those are the 4 in Big Ten. Oklahoma is probably going to take one of those spots. I think Oklahoma, and then is going to take, I guess, probably the bottom team out, take Minnesota out. So it's probably going to be Penn, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Iowa. Probably those ones would be my guess. Minnesota, I thought, came out of nowhere, but maybe like people were thinking that. But they won a lot of ones that, like they had an unranked guy at 141 make the finals named Vance. And then they had not unranked, I don't know. Just say unranked. But on here, on the flow, it's showing that he wasn't the second ranked guy. Yeah. So I think that's probably what way it would play out. Penn State, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Iowa. All right. Let's see what else we got. Caravaggio, there's nothing specific that I've added from Satiev that like added to his game. I mean, unless it trickled down from some other coaches, which I'm sure it did. The way I coach my athletes is I show them fundamental techniques that I think everybody should know. There's like a handful of techniques that I think every wrestler should know. And then I allow them to kind of personalize their own wrestling. I show them a variety of different techniques, stuff from the Russian, stuff from the underhook, stuff from the overhook. And they're able to kind of figure out their own style. Same thing with the top position. There's not really any, I don't know how to say your name. I think it's like Chinese. But there's not any really adult wrestling gyms in United States either. Mainly jiu-jitsu and judo. Not really even judo in the United States. Yeah, I would start doing jiu-jitsu for sure. If you're coaches trying to get coaches tips, hey, join the academy. That's all I got to say. It's 100% free. This is for Jose, 100% free. You can post your coaching questions in there. I was saying earlier in this live stream that I'll be recording a video on one of my practices so you can see exactly how I run it. You can ask questions on here about coaching. Jose, we do this every Tuesday. So, I'm here to help coaches, wrestlers, jiu-jitsu athletes, whoever. All right, True Vision Wrestling. I've been hitting the far side cradle on the Western hook. Your tips before, but do you have a detailed tip on finishing? Yeah, if I have a Western hook and I lock up a cradle on the far side, I'm going to keep the Western hook and I'm going to lift the Western hook up and to the side to get the person to fall over. I think my brother might have had video on that. I might have trouble finding it though. Yeah, I would just. I'm gonna have trouble finding the exact video. Who was asking about the True Vision wrestling? I'm gonna have trouble finding the exact video, but I have something out there on showing the finish. But if you can imagine this, you have a Western hook, you have the cradle on the far side, you lift your Western hook up and kind of crank his leg outwards, and he starts falling over to his hip, and then you end up hip to hip finishing that. You can also just search Iron Faith cradles on YouTube. You'll probably be able to find the video somewhere. Just might take a second. I won't be able to. Probably take me 10 minutes to find it, so can't really do that right now. Study wrestling and a little basic defense, you will be well. Yeah. Matthew, what do you think of a chest body lock instead of front headlocks? The chest locks are good. I think a reason why you see chest locks more often in freestyle is because you can use the chest lock to throw the person and get back exposure. And I think the front headlock is a little bit better to score go behinds from. You have a couple different options. You can cradle, you can DJ, you can throw by. The chest lock is a little bit more limited to what you can do. But you can do that throw for back exposure. I think both is fine. Just get comfortable. You got to be very comfortable from those positions, though. In front of a person, when they've shot underneath you, scoring from that position in a couple different ways is super important. All right. How to ankle pick someone who keeps over tying your collar tie. Well, there's two options. If you're trying to ankle pick somebody and they're over tying your collar tie, you either have to pull their head down and go to your ankle pick before he snaps, or hand fight that over tie off and attack before he goes to the over tie. You could also try doing an ankle pick on the opposite side. Maybe he only likes to over tie on one side, so you could switch to the other side and try ankle pick. I personally like going, when somebody over ties on me, I like shooting a knee pull single or a high crotch if it's on the other side. So my suggestion, if you go collar tie and somebody keeps going over tie, I don't think the ankle pick is the best shot from there. I think going to a single or a high crotch, depending on what side your collar tie is on, is the best. If you're a righty and you're collar tying with your right hand and they over tie, I would do a knee pull single. If you're a righty and you're collar tying with your backhand, your left hand, and they over tie, I would hit a high crotch. What's the score between me and Steven? I don't know. I'd probably tech him in the first period. But no, I don't know. Back when we wrestled, I think I would have beat him when we were both competing. I don't know how good. I don't even know how good I am right now, to tell you the truth. I think technically I'm a lot better, but I haven't been in a room I haven't been challenged yet as a coach. So I think my athletes will get there these next few years, get to a point where they're getting to my level. But right now I don't really know even where I would lie in an actual, competitive across the country kind of thing. I have college kids come in, but haven't really had any issue with the college kids. Steven's really good, obviously. Steven's stronger than me too, so a little advantage. Yeah, you're essentially gonna pull him back with that cradle division wrestling. So you're gonna go Western hook, you're gonna go cradle, and you're gonna pull him back just like you would finish a regular kind of cross face cradle. You pull him almost on top of you and then land side to side, hip to hip. You can roll across your own back if they put their knee down. I definitely don't want to compete anymore. One of the 6th grade ladies made it to states. Normally, when I'm peaking for a specific tournament, Preacher's asking, one of my 6th grade ladies made it to states. Competition is this Saturday. How should I focus the practices this week? Normally, I shorten the practices and keep them intense and just make sure her weight's good. So, if you're normally used to doing a 2-hour practice, I might cut it down to an hour and a half, keep it intense, make sure she's feeling fresh. Maybe there's some stretching after, so she's getting recovered. You don't want to crush them the last week. You don't need to have 3-hour-long practices with a bunch of sprints and random stuff like that. They've already put the work in. Your goal is to make them feel as good as possible, crisp with their technique, fast, explosive. And I would even pair up with people she can beat and build some confidence there. Help her to build some confidence with her shots by just kind of beating some kids up. One of the Oklahoma State coach, I was talking to him, not Oklahoma, my bad, Ohio State, Jay Jaggers, and he was telling me as nationals rolled around, he would allow his athletes to beat them more so that they would build some confidence heading into the national championships. So that's something that I think there may be some value to. Got another 40 minutes, you guys. Any questions you have, feel free to drop them. Can always end early if people don't have questions. No problem. Your friends are trying to go to Ohio State? Very cool, very cool. I think Jay Jaggers is he was a big he helped me a lot with my cradles. So that was a big made a big difference in my wrestling. He had a great cradle series. Matthews asking, how do you coach female wrestler compared to males? I'll plan to join Wrestling Academy. Appreciate your answering my questions earlier. If the females are wrestling males, I think you can. Females wrestling females and males wrestling males, you don't have to coach them any differently. The only difference between a female and a male is the male is stronger. So it's you can show the same techniques, show the same stuff. Now, if a female is wrestling a male, which is just essentially a weaker male wrestling a male, one of the things I suggest is leg riding. I think leg riding is really good for females wrestling males. A female has really strong legs, and they can, I've seen females do very, very well being good leg riders. So I think leg riders are great. Leg riding is great. But other than that, if it's just female versus female, you don't treat them any differently. There's no reason to do that. The biggest thing I've noticed with the girls is that I coach is they're looking for community. They're looking if you want to keep girls around, training all year round, enjoying the sport, trying to become an Olympic champ out of it. What I found success with is just building a good group of girls that are friends and want to train hard together. I think especially when girls are younger, it's sometimes tough for them to start the sport and enjoy it when all of their girlfriends from elementary school are doing these soccer, and they're at wrestling practice, and they don't have any of their friends there. So I think building those friendships is super important with the younger wrestlers. And that goes for boys too, but obviously people want to do the sports that their friends are doing. All right. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. I'm gonna see if there's any questions in the academy I can answer. Let's see. Mark's asking about explosive workouts. For lifting, if you guys are trying to get more explosive, and you lift, we would generally lift. We would have some Olympic lifts. Now, I think the problem with Olympic lifts is they're more complicated. So a lot of people who are just starting out lifting, they end up trying to include Olympic lifts, and it's so hard to get the lift down itself that they can't even focus on just moving weight. So I think one thing that would be good with, to get more explosive is just take lifts like deadlift, bench that you're already lifting, and bring the weight up a little bit and do like 3 reps but faster speed, right? Work on lifting more explosively, lifting faster, right? Moving weight faster. I think some people do, like I was saying earlier, speed stuff like ladder drills as warm-ups. We would do that in college. You can do box jump stuff too. We didn't really do box jumps in colleges, but I know a lot of personal trainers who have their athletes do that. And then as far as wrestling, you need to drill more explosively. You need to attempt to do moves more explosively. Like when you're drilling, you're accelerating into your shots. You're not just going slow. When you're finishing shots, you're picking the guy up and slamming him on his hip. You're not like shooting a double and just pivoting around and getting on top. You're shooting a double, getting up to your feet, lifting the guy in the air and slamming him on his hip. That type of drilling will just get you used to exploding through finishes. David Carr was telling me when he was down here for the camp, saying his dad would always say, shoot fast, finish fast. So your drilling has to be explosive. It can't be slow motion drilling. You have to be your attacks at 100% speed. All right. Yeah, partners do complain. For sure. I was telling one of my college wrestlers, trying to help him understand how hard you should drill. It's not always 100% hard. It's not always. Like, you're going to do some flow drilling. You're going to do some different stuff. But in general, I'm drilling pretty hard. My partner's giving me looks. He's sprawling on me. He's trying to kick away. I drilled with one of my college wrestlers for like 5-6 takedowns. And I broke him, made him give up in drilling 5 takedowns. And I was helping him understand, like, hey, this is how hard I used to drill. Again, not 100% of the time, but, there's a lot of value in drilling hard. And he couldn't, or he went to go do that as college practices, right? He went to go drill super hard, and his coaches were upset at him, and his people he was drilling with got mad. And that's just because, like, the kids he was drilling with they're just not as motivated, right? It's tougher. It's like just like anything. A lot of kids want to come to practice and drill slow and go through the motions. And that's why there's not that many people that are really, really good at wrestling, because it's hard, very hard work. So yeah, your partners are going to be mad at you. You can always ease up a little bit. The way I normally drill is, if you're taking me down, I'm not really giving you any resistance with the hand fight. So I'll let you kind of get to wherever you want. I'll be a good partner. I'll grab your triceps. I'll let you move me around, and I'll let you hit an amazing shot. And then once you get in on the legs, I'm giving you some defense. I'm sprawling a little bit, stuffing your head down, and you're working through your finish. At the very end, I might try to kick away, so you learn how to actually finish against an actual match, right? And then I always drill takedowns to escape. So right when the takedown happened, I would pop to my feet, get my escape. Then I'm turning, and you're letting me get to my tie up. When I shoot, though, I'm going to finish so fast, so aggressive, and perfect with my technique that I'm going to flatten you on your hip. I know if I finish slow, because the way we're drilling, it's going to be very difficult. You're going to be sprawling on me, kicking away. It's going to be really annoying drill. So because of that, when I shoot, I'm going to finish you right on your hip, slam you down, so that you don't make the takedown take like 15 seconds and I get super gassed. All right. How hard should I train? My high school season just ended and I got 3 weeks to train for nationals. I mean, you should always be trying to pick up your effort. There'll be a point where you kind of max your effort out, but you should be training hard. Obviously, if injuries, you got to avoid injuring them more. You got to recover the right way. And if you train hard, it means you got to recover the right way, right? You got to sleep enough, eat enough. But you should be training hard. I don't know, whatever that is for you. Harder than reality, probably harder than what you're training right now. Because there's just levels to training hard. So I would tell it to anybody almost. If you haven't reached your goal yet, keep pushing the pace. Do more practices, but make sure you're recovering the right way. Make sure you're sleeping. Make sure you're taking a day off. Make sure you're dealing with your injuries. I remember Khabib talking about how when his training, Khabib's one of the best MMA fighters of all time. He would train very hard. They would talk about how he would be in the center the whole time while 6 of the best guys in the world would rotate in on him and nobody could even get a takedown on him. But he would sleep in between his practices because he needed that recovery. Super hard, you need to be eating, drinking, and recovering the right way. All right. Has Dirty Wrestling started making a comeback? As far as Dirty Wrestling, what's my thoughts on that? I mean, like, I think like fighting dirty is just unacceptable. I'm gonna go as hard as I can, and my goal is to win. I think if you have the mindset of I'm trying to hurt the kid, I'm trying to hurt him, I'm trying to that's wild to me. Like, this is not MMA, this is not UFC. This is you're trying to score by points. You're doing the moves as hard as you can. You're trying to score. You're not cranking on the guy's knee or giving him a serious injury. And there's a couple acceptable things, like a crossface. I'm going to pull the head as hard as I can, obviously, but it's all to score points. I'm not here to I think there's some people out there that are they're literally trying to hurt kids, which is mind-boggling to me. I don't know what to teach your kids as far as that, though. I mean, I'm just going to teach my kids not to wrestle dirty, wrestle intense, but not, wrestle dirty, obviously. I don't know, Matthew, if you should move to Dagestan. I don't know what the logistics are of that. People that are good at cradles, Jay Jaggers, Bo Nickel. It's hard to find the matches, though, where they're hitting cradles. You have to search through stuff. I have a bunch of videos showing technique on cradles that kind of go over everything. But to find actual footage, I think Keegan O'Toole is really good at cradles too. Who else is good at cradles? I don't know. As far as technical side, I mean, you can search Iron Faith cradles. You'll find any detail you want on the cradles. But as far as hitting them in live, Keegan O'Toole, Bo Nickel, Ed Ruth, Jay Jaggers. It's got a couple that come to my head. Yeah. I'm going to be trying to add more clips of people hitting stuff in the videos to help so you guys can kind of see them live too. I know a lot of people want that. When I'm leg riding, the grips I do with the upper body, I like side headlock. I don't really do power half unless I have 2 boots in. I like attacking like almost like a guillotine with grabbing the arm or attacking the far arm. So if I have 1 boot in, say I have my left boot in, and they're on their base, I'll attack that right hand. So the hand opposite my leg. So my left leg's in, I'm attacking their far right hand. I'll pull up on their ankle too to try to flatten them out. Side headlock's great. Grabbing their wrist and just pulling them out. Power half. Those are some examples that I would do with leg riding. No problem. Leg riding's unique too. Like I recently watched a bunch of wrestlers currently riding legs and what moves actually work well. Here's some that I kind of came up with after watching Division I wrestlers ride legs. What are they actually turning people with? They're not really turning with banana split. You're not seeing guillotine. You're seeing double boot power half. You're seeing 1 leg in with the cradle on the far side. You're seeing some like wrist and half stuff from your back. Figure 4 turn a little bit. I saw the ball and chain tilt a couple times, but cradle a lot. Double boot power half. And then like when somebody tries to hip you down, doing tilts from that position. Matthew's asking what Penn State does. I don't know all the details. I'm sure they're locking in a lot of different things. I think they build a great coaching staff. I mean, at this point, they're getting really amazing recruits, but like if you were to compare like Penn State to Iowa, like that's more what I would think. The general idea I get from Penn State, Iowa, and why Penn State always has been kind of beating them in the recent times, I feel like Iowa, they're focusing a lot on just drilling hard, and they obviously have a great cardio at a great pace. But I think Penn State's more creative in their ability to score. And I think they're also like have a better, more relaxed mindset, I would say, than a lot of the Iowa wrestlers. Like the intent, there's that balance, right? Like I was saying earlier, I want you guys drilling very hard, and it's going to make a big difference to wrestling. But do you have that creativity? Are you adding new techniques? I think Penn State does a great job of both. They're obviously competing really hard. I don't know like they're doing so many things. I don't know what's actually making the difference. I know they have like a psychologist that helps them. I know they do yoga once a week. Like, I don't know. They do different stuff, right? They do yoga once a week, I've heard. That's what Jason Nolf was saying. I think they're probably like not training. I did an interview with Jason Nolf too. You can kind of like listen to what he talked about in it. If you go Iron Faith, Jason Nolf. But one thing he did said is they actually take like a lot of rest days off. And I think he was explaining when you were younger, when he was in high school, when he was in middle school, he wrestled way more than he wrestled in college. And he was saying you need to wrestle a lot. But then as you start getting to the peak, the recovery matters. The just fine-tuning things in matters. So you don't actually have to like overwork yourself when you've put in 12 years of, 2-a-days, in the sense of your age of 6 years old till 18. I do think that's a big part of it too. I think the faith culture is huge at Penn State. For me, like I know some of you guys aren't obviously not Christian. Half of you guys, I don't know what it is, but for me, that was my whole mindset. I was calm. I didn't have the stress. Like I think some wrestlers are like, if I don't win, my life's over. So a lot of that ability to relax came from my faith, and I do think I would say like pretty much everybody in the Penn State room is pretty vocal about their faith and having the ability to leave it up to God, right? The result up to God. And I've even just talked to just sports psychologists who aren't Christian or by any means, and the funny thing is they use the same type of psychology that a Christian would think like, but they just take God out of it. So, for example, whether you're like, one of the psychologists I was talking to who wasn't a Christian was saying, let go of the outcome, right? They talk about that, let go of the outcome. Now, as a Christian, we would think the same way. Hey, we're going to do our best effort. We're going to go out there and try to dominate and put our best foot forward. But the outcome, what actually happens, isn't up to us. That's in God's hands. We trust that whatever happens, he essentially knows how our life's going to plan out, and we trust in him, right? So I think the Christian mindset, I made a video on this, is it follows being able to compete well, being relaxed, leaving the outcome up to God. For the people that aren't Christian, they just say, don't worry about the outcome. So it's a little bit up in the air. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. Matthew, I'm 23. I live in Las Vegas. Wrestling here is trash. The college has a bad wrestling team as well, and going out of state to another college is expensive. How can I improve folk style wrestling? Isn't there a club in Las Vegas, something Gold? I thought it was Las Vegas. One of my old training partners, Chase Pammy, I think runs a club there. I thought was good. Let me see what the name is. Gold Rush Wrestling Academy. Nevada. I don't know where. Maybe check out Gold Rush Wrestling Academy if you're in Las Vegas, and it's in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's where I would look at. Gold Rush Wrestling. Oh, there's no. All right, and I don't know. There's not really many adult wrestling programs, to tell you the truth. We just have our college wrestlers practice with us. So, I mean, when an adult comes and asks to sign up for adult wrestling, I say you can come, but it's gonna be really hard. Like, you can come and wrestle with our college and high school guys, but don't, I don't know. There's not really like that relaxed adult wrestling like they have with jiu-jitsu. There might be some colleges out there that are cheaper. You can. I just keep looking around. I don't think every college is super expensive. I think it's like it's tough for adults if they never done anything, if they never done wrestling before, unless it's like a specific class for adults. It's tough for adults to kind of get into it. Because if I was an adult who never wrestled before and I wanted to get in wrestling, I wouldn't be training as hard as competitive wrestlers. I would be thinking of the longevity of it. I'd be trying to learn it slow, enjoy it, not be as intense, similar to like jiu-jitsu classes. And I just don't think there's that many things out there like that. Yeah, I think MMA gym would be a good bet. Like all of my former wrestlers, a lot of them just train at this one jiu-jitsu club, and they do wrestling once a week. I get it though. I like wrestling way better than jiu-jitsu. Like if I wasn't running a wrestling club and I was just like still working as an engineer, I would much rather do wrestling than jiu-jitsu because I'm already good at it and I like takedowns. All right. Any more questions? I'm going to head out if you guys don't have any more questions. Yeah, the wrestling versus jiu-jitsu is tough. Wrestling the training was, in my opinion, just so much harder. So the kids are so much, jiu-jitsu athletes aren't ready for that intensity. So that's kind of the biggest thing that I think happens. You just join? Yeah, normally these are Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, but I'm renting my house out, so I had to get a lead inspection done. And that was at 1, so I had to bump it. All right. Trying to get in that real estate business. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed everything. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 1. Bring your questions. Make sure you join the online academy. Ask your questions there. Got some big things coming there soon. Yeah, see you guys next week. That's all I got.